Welcome to the Lounge Lizards podcast. It's so good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo. Tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Pooba, Pagoda, and Bam Bam. And our plan is to smoke a couple cigars, drink some bourbon, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 102nd official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke 2 short cigars tonight, share our thoughts on them, and give you our formal lizard ratings. We discuss the long history of punch and the 15-year history of Liga Privada. We talk about the top cigar brands at brick-and-mortar shops in the U.S., and we try a 100-proof accessible bourbon, all among a variety of other things for the next 2 hours. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair 9 years aged Knob Creek Bourbon with Punch Short to Punch and Liga Privada Unico Serie Papas Fritas. A doubleheader tonight on the pod for our third short smoke special. We have a Cuban and a non-Cuban. We're going to start with the Cuban, of course. This is a Petite Robusto. It's called the Punch Short to Punch. Its factory name is Paraisos, and it's a 50 ring gauge cigar by 4 3/4 inches.
This is going to be a lot of fun tonight.
I'm very excited. You know why?
I love the doubleheader.
I love a doubleheader, and I have never had the Papas Fritas, and I haven't had this in several years.
You've never had the Papas
The Papas
Never had
Fritas is good, man.
Never had
You're going to love it.
I can't wait.
It's going to be awesome.
I can't wait. I'm so excited. We've had those cigars now for a few weeks, and they've been staring at me in the humidor, and
Nice.
I haven't touched them, so I'm very excited to try it. But first, boys, let's cut this thing. See, we're getting on the cold draw on the wrapper, of course. That's a good smelling and tasting cigar on the cold draw.
I do love the short to punch.
I know you do.
I've said that many times.
I think Rooster does as well.
I do too.
Yeah.
I haven't had one of
love
these in a
punch
while.
punch. I love short to punch.
There's a nutty peanut buttery thing that happens with it
Yeah.
if you get the right one.
And I got a dimple.
I do too.
I do too.
What was the box code on these, Bam?
This is an RAT.
Yep.
2020.
Excellent.
Yeah.
It's Portuguese, right?
That's La Corona, which is the mother factory of punch. All right, boys, let's
Love
light
that
this
code.
thing. The Punch Short to Punch Petite Robusto out of Cuba. It's a 50 ring gauge by 4 3/4 inch cigar. These cigars retail for what, Bam? About $20 now, $25 a stick.
Probably $23 a
Yeah.
stick and change.
Yeah. If you get them with a few years of age, obviously you're going to pay a little bit of a premium, but
Yeah.
they
Now,
smoke
It's
great
nothing,
young.
nothing under 20 bucks.
no,
Yeah.
and I bought these. I've had these for a few years, of course, so they were a lot less expensive back in the day. This cigar I've yet to take a puff on the light. It's delicious, dude.
It's really nice on the
Right?
Very good. Very Cuban.
Very Cuban.
A very slight pungent.
It does have a little, like,
I love that though.
I want to call it a twang, honestly. I think it has a little bit of the
Yeah.
front of your tongue, salty twang.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It, like
definitely
right on the
salty.
light, it tastes very Cuban to me.
It has the floral thing too.
Yeah. I'm launching right into Pooba tonight. I know that you frown upon this marca.
No.
little
I don't
bit.
frown
A
upon it
little
at
bit.
all.
A
I
little
don't
bit.
frown upon it at all. I just don't buy a lot of them. It's not a frown.
Okay.
Pooba, turn that frown upside down.
There is no frown to turn upside down.
All right.
I'm neither here nor there.
I have to give you.
I'm everywhere.
I got to give you a 2014 punch. It'll change your mind.
That is a good cigar.
It is so good.
I'll trade you for a 2014 D4.
I do love
Done.
the punch.
Awesome.
It's awesome.
We did that on the podcast. It was actually the first. Actually, I think that was the second punch we did because we did the Punch Mantua, the Italian regional. We did that on the Christmas episode in 2021, if you can believe it. More than 2 years ago. We didn't rate that cigar. And then we did Punch, I believe that's a Corona Gorda, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Or just a Corona Especial? I don't remember. But we did that on episode 20.
Corona Gorda, I believe.
Pretty early on.
I really like the size.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
a short little Robusto.
Somewhat Hermoso-esque.
Yeah.
Somewhat Hermoso-esque.
I'm getting an excellent draw and a
Me
great
too.
smoke output. This
Yeah.
is fantastic.
It's nice.
It's nutty.
Yep.
Little
Very
cedar,
pleasant.
little floral. I'm not getting the peanut butter thing yet, Bam, which was certainly the note that I was expecting given my prior experience with these a few years ago.
On the retro, you do get it.
Got it. Yeah, this is really nice.
I'm getting like, it's sweet. It's a little bit nutty,
See, when you get that
salty.
that sweet and savory type thing happening, that's
Pretty
complex cigar.
Pretty nice, man.
yeah, that's a nice thing.
Like I light this up, I'm happy.
Yeah, you do get that nutty note.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like to me, it's more like a walnut right now.
Yeah. It's more that than an almond or a.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is nice.
It is. It's
But
really
yeah, in the
nice, and it's a
past-
little salty too.
Yeah.
It's really great. Like that it gives you that Cuban flavor profile that we all love.
There's something about the lingering when you push the draw out. The way that it sits on the front of your tongue is very interesting.
Wow.
I would say it's pretty unique, even for Cuban cigars. Like
This
it doesn't taste like anything else.
I'll go out on a limb and say that the short to punch is a little different than most other Cuban cigars, and I can't put my finger as to why, but it's unique.
You know, I'm
It's a
finding a
little
little bit of creaminess on the top of my palate as well. Like it's really just taken over and filled it up. It's excellent.
It's a good cigar. It's the one, provided it stays this way.
I do like like you said, I like the word pungent or the kind of sour thing that's happening. I like that about the cigar.
That's what this has.
And I think if the complexity wasn't there in the way that we've described it,
It'd be awful.
it would be awful. But I think it kind of adding another layer of complexity
Yeah.
makes the cigar 10 times more interesting.
Right. It's that savory sweet with that pungent and saltiness that you get that makes it a pretty good smoke.
We'll have to see how it builds.
You know what
Yeah.
this kind of tastes like to me right now? You know, like the mix you have at the bar with like peanuts, pretzels,
Yes.
and then there's that little brown thing, the little like brown cracker thing in it,
Yep.
the flat cracker. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, it's
Like
like,
a
a
bar
big,
mix?
It's like a bagel chip.
Yes,
of sorts.
it's kind of like that to me. It tastes like that right now. It's a very distinguished note there, boys.
Yeah.
Yes.
So this cigar was announced in February 2019 at the Habanos Festival. It was the first new punch release announced in years, and it was actually the first regular production of Robusto in the marca ever, which is crazy. The punch didn't have a Robusto.
I didn't know that this cigar was so young.
Yeah, they only released this announced it 4 years ago. It didn't come out till, this is probably one of the first batches.
So you're telling me
Of
I have
short to
two
punch.
2019 boxes.
Yep.
That's the first year release?
That's the first year of release.
Really?
Yep.
Wow.
Well,
Yeah,
thank you
it's
for
like,
sharing.
It's like a first.
Yeah, man.
It's
That's
it's
fantastic.
like a first edition of a book.
That's crazy.
And, you know, the thing that, of course, we'd look for is like, what do these taste like with age?
Yeah.
This is the max age right now.
So
is
far.
2019, 2020.
Yes.
You know, so we'll see how it does. And then when we revisit this in a few years,
Right.
you know, we'll see how they age
Right.
with a little more time on them.
It's medium bodied. It's so far. We'll see how it builds, but if you're looking for something that's approachable and kind of medium full flavored, medium strength, it's right there. I mean, it kind of checks the box for me. Maybe it's a before dinner cigar.
Yeah.
Yep.
You
Yeah.
know, you have a little bit of time. You're going to sit down, and before dinner, you're going to have a quick cocktail. This would slot in nicely, unless all of a sudden it turns into like something super strong down the stretch, which I don't think it will.
Rooster, you've
Um,
had a lot of these.
Mhm.
You and I probably smoke more of these than anyone in the group.
Yeah, I love
Us-
this
us
cigar.
too.
Do you smoke it with a coffee? Is that kind of the pairing for you?
Smoke everything with the coffee.
It's a good point.
Yeah, I
This
love-
to
I
me
love
is
good
like a
coffee.
great coffee cigar on a Saturday morning.
Yeah.
That's true. It's a
You know,
good
obviously
pair.
we're doing, you know, it's getting colder weather now. So, you know, we're moving into to fall and winter. Obviously the intention here of doing this
Hoodie weather.
hoodie weather, baby. We're back. We are so back.
Now, I would just like to state for the record, I don't refer to fall as hoodie weather. I don't
I do.
really own hoodies, but you do.
When it gets like
But you do.
when it's 50s and 60s, man, and I can comfortably rock
A
Yeah,
hoodie.
man.
a great hoodie. I like a good hoodie. I don't like a cheap hoodie. I like a really high quality hoodie. There's no better time of the year than when I can rock a hoodie.
Yeah, I'm like a vest guy.
You're a vest guy. It's
Vests
okay.
are
I go
also-
hoodie instead of vest.
I love vests.
I'm a vest
I do
guy.
too.
I do love vests. Now, I had back to school night last week from one of my kids, and I can't tell you how many dads walking around the school with hoodies on.
No way.
with
Really?
hoodies, no
Dude.
vest. Usually vest is the
Especially
way.
in town, like in
town,
where I live.
yeah.
It's I was surprised.
It's like the dad uniform. You put on.
Yeah, but
you
these-
put on like the zip up vest.
The
I'll tell you
khakis.
something. Though.
Yeah,
I'll
some
tell you.
khakis.
A
and-
few guys had a cool pair of shoes, nice jeans, and a hoodie. It looked good.
Hey,
I'm gonna try it.
come on, Bam.
I'm gonna try.
Come to the dark side,
it.
baby.
I might do it.
I don't know, Bam. You're regressing.
It's very Mark. It's very Mark Zuckerberg.
Was I that far
The hoodie's
ahead?
very Mark Zuckerberg, and for that reason, I'm out.
I'm
I'm out.
To give you an idea, guys.
I'm more Orvis. I'm more outdoorsy.
Orvis is nice.
Orvis outdoors kind of non-tech.
Pagoda's making a statement.
No, I was
Yeah.
just saying that Bam is always impeccably dressed,
Come
true.
on.
and to see him in a hoodie would be a sight.
That is not true.
It would be.
Have you ever
it
seen
would
him?
be a
Come
sight.
on.
And by the way,
I have
can
seen Bam in a hoodie. Actually,
Can I?
Yes, I've had hoodies on.
I'd like to editorialize. Pagoda. I like whatever these slip-ons are.
The
I
kicks are
like
cool.
them, and I like the socks. What's going on?
I have no idea, man.
You have
He's just happy to be
multicolored
here.
socks on and these nice slip-ons. What
Nice
are those?
kicks.
What are those kicks?
Poopa's kicks are
Cole
nice.
Hounds.
Cole Haan.
Cole Haan. It's like a sneaker.
You guys
slip-on.
all have great shoes on. I've got the cheapest pair of $19 Target. I wear these on my job sites because they're so cheap, but they look fairly presentable
They
when I'm
do.
with
They look nice. This
Yeah.
doesn't look $19.
$19.
You can't buy a
No.
sandwich.
No, I tell
for
Mrs. Bam
$19.
Bam, get me 10 of these because they get ruined on job sites. I don't
Yeah,
wear.
but you could break. You're on a job site. You're wearing that. You're going to break your foot
Well,
off. For the listener, this
depending
is
on
like
the
a
job.
this is
Wait.
like a beach shoe.
Depends on the job.
You're on a construction site.
Mhm.
You should be wearing steel-toed shoes.
or something.
Isn't that one of the requirements?
When
he
I'm
just
on a
walks
site-
around and charges people. He
I
just
do.
like hands
I mean,
people
a
invoices.
nail could go right through that.
No. So our sites are impeccably clean at all fucking times.
Isn't that one of the
Yeah,
OSHA
but you could
requirements?
still
Yes.
step on a nail or some shit, Dunk. Right, bro?
I'm sure he's wearing
got-
a
I
jock
got
strap
guys-
there.
He's got
Sweeping
guys
all
in
day.
front of him.
All day.
He's got like they do in curling when the
Yeah, I have
curling
curling
thing-
guys in
his
front of me.
curling guys sweeping his
I
every
feel
step.
like he just like off his iPhone. He just text messages and emails invoices to people.
That's what I do.
Just like here you go, here you
need
go.
a
This
check.
this job's over. This job's over. This
Boom.
job's over. This job's over. Estimate. This job's over.
Net 30, net 30, net 30, net 30.
Net 30. Net 30. It's also 20% over. Net 30.
That's right. You're not lying.
Boys, this cigar is really good, man.
Yeah.
This is really good.
I could get used to this. This
Yeah,
is great.
I am.
Yeah.
I'm happy that we're doing this tonight because, like I said, I would not have reached for this cigar. If I'm reaching for anything in punch, I'm going for the Corona, the punch. I mean,
It's unusual because if you take your time with it and you get a faint whiff, you'll get some peanut butter. It's just strange.
The construction is terrific.
Yeah. Nice
you know
cigar.
what? For the size of the cigar, this 50 by a little under 5, like there's actually quite a bit of tobacco in there, but it's not heavy.
No,
But you can tell, like
It's dense.
it's dense.
it's dense.
Yeah,
you
it's-
know?
it's packed well. It reminds me, like, isn't Ras around the same size?
Slightly
The
bigger.
Ras
is
is
a
a
bit bigger.
traditional Robusto at
Is it?
5 inches, I believe. I think it's 50 by 5. So it's not much. It just has another 1/4 inch on it.
What is reminiscent is there is toothiness to this wrapper
There is.
that you can reminisce to that Ras. Possibly the Ras is a bit more rustic than this, I think, and a lighter depending on the batch.
And the thing about this too, versus some of the, let's call it higher end or more premium Cuban cigars, this you can very clearly see the
Seems.
seams, the veins,
Yeah.
like the wrapper that they choose for this specific cigar is not perfect,
No.
But who cares?
who gives a yeah, who cares?
Yeah, it's not a gorgeous cigar, but
It's not.
It's a handsome cigar.
But when it smokes like this, I don't care what it looks
It's
like.
delicious.
Excellent.
And I like the size.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Well, this is-
perfect.
Like Puba said, it slots in great before dinner. It's perfect for that 45 to an hour. If the wife's kibitzing around, sit down and have a cigar.
I mean, I smoke this in the morning sometimes with a cup of coffee, and
Yeah.
it goes so
It
well
hits
with
the
coffee.
spot.
Yeah.
It does.
And
It's
obviously
almost like what you'd want a Hoyo to taste like, but
yeah, don't you wish?
Yeah.
but it doesn't.
Yeah.
You know, it like.
You'll never get this in a while.
I don't want to start to bash.
We did that a couple episodes with the Epicure #1.
Yeah, I wasn't here for that.
You weren't.
man.
Good for you. It was very weak.
Mhm.
What was it? What was the age? What was the
It
number?
was 4 or 5 years.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was legit.
Because I have a bundle of those. Maybe I have 10 or something
Hold on to them.
that I just like tied up in a ribbon.
Well, you and I
And, like,
bought,
put 'em
no,
back.
no, you and I bought.
Did we split a
We
box
split a
or
box.
something years ago?
Probably
And
2019s.
yeah, and I put them in the back of my humidor and I just tied them up in a ribbon, like
Leave 'em there.
an old Ramon Alonis ribbon. I just tied them up in a bundle and just put them in the back.
We got left out.
You may have been lucky, dude.
That was
I
actually
mean,
the first box split I did with you. We did that at the old lounge. You and I bought that box.
That's a long
and
time
they're
ago.
just sitting there. I haven't had one,
I bet
but
they're
it
good.
sounds like I shouldn't.
So this cigar, don't touch it.
Switching topics.
Yeah.
Some age on that. Go ahead.
Back to some goodness. This cigar, like I said, was announced in February 19, released in 19, as we discussed. It was released simultaneously to the markup being reclassified into the value category of Habanos, alongside brands like Bolivar, Ramon Ionis, and Trinidad. It used to be in the multi-local category, but they elevated it when they revamped the brand in 2019.
Trinidad is a value marker.
I don't think so.
As of today, according to Habanos classification, it's still a value, but I'm assuming they can't elevate it likely to a global brand. I mean, that's the only up. This is right under global is value. So there's no in between.
You mentioned Trinidad. How was that?
Trinidad is next to this in the value brand. This
That's hilarious.
it's hilarious. They don't know what the word value means.
I mean, a $2,200 fundy box isn't
Not
is a
value.
Look, there is no value. Everything is expensive
Yeah,
and overpriced.
I think that's the case across the
Yeah.
entire Habanos catalog.
Yeah, exactly.
So these cigars only come in semi-Boit Nature boxes of 10. And as we know, Punch also has a very successful budget brand in the non-Cuban market owned by General Cigar, often represented, of course, by the Joker or Jester kind of character that they have.
How
those
are
little
those
figurines. I've never had one.
I haven't.
They're found in gas
I have
stations.
had them.
I
They're on
remember-
the cheaper end.
They're not very good. Are
I
they?
They're on the
remember
cheaper
when
end
I
of General.
first met a bunch of you. You had all New World punches in your hands.
No,
Someone
nobody.
in here did.
Not me.
Listen,
Wasn't
that's
me.
Not me.
that's a gas station cigar for
Yeah,
sure.
it's not good. It's
They're
not good.
right?
All right.
No.
Yeah.
I've never smoked.
Rooster's corroborating.
Rooster's pointing at me. I've never smoked a punch.
No, I'm just, I haven't seen that, but
Oh, okay.
if you're saying
I
it,
thought I saw that in the old
No,
ones.
Yeah.
no. There was another. There was a member of our
hallucinating.
lounge who smoked those early on.
That's true too.
I don't think they were sold at that lounge.
They weren't.
No.
and they're not,
No,
and they
no.
shouldn't be.
They should never
Yeah.
be.
So quite different is the Cuban story, and we talked a little bit about this when we did the Punch episode, which was almost 100 episodes ago. I think it was episode 20. So the Punch brand was established around 1840. It was very, very popular in England. Its branding came from Mr. Punch, who was a character on a popular puppet show, which was very popular in England, as well as it was taken from classic royal imagery, in the king, the jesters and jokers and whatnot. So that's where that came from.
Right.
And that's why that budget non-Cuban Punch brand uses that jester. If you go into a store
Yeah.
that sells Punch, they'll often have the bobblehead figurine of the little
Right.
Punch guy.
I remember this because I think I did the brand history in episode 20 for Punch.
I think
You
you did.
did. That's right.
How am I doing?
You're doing well. It was a long time ago.
I'm doing well.
The marca was owned by Manuel Lopez Fernandez via his company, Juan Valle y Cia, from 1884 until 1925. And actually, his name is still incorporated into the sum of the Punch branding and logos. So the main Punch logo, not the one you see on the cigar itself on the band, but I believe the box and certainly, the flagship brand has his name, Manuel Lopez, in the logo.
Okay.
Once a major brand, many Punch models were cut after the severe blue mold crisis in the early 1980s, and Punch kind of took a major dive after that.
How many Vitolas?
They dropped a lot.
Yeah.
They dropped a lot.
How many do they have now?
We can go through how many they have now. I'll read them off to you. The current line has 7. We can go through them. The Coronations, which is a Petite Corona 42 by 129, only comes in a tubo. The Petite Coronations which is also a petite Corona, same in a tubo as well, in a dress box. They have the double Corona, which is an excellent cigar. I actually have those keyed up for us.
I like those.
Early next
I've
year.
only had one my entire life. I'd love to get a box of those.
Yeah, we're going to do that early next year. I actually already have those.
That's a very cool cigar, by the way.
It is.
Yeah.
It's the same size as the Lusitania.
That's
the
awesome.
Bolivar Coronas Gigantes and the Hoyo de Monterrey double Corona. Also, they have the Punch 48, which is a La Casa del Habano exclusive. Hermosos number 3 Grand Corona, 48 by 5.5. The Short to Punch, obviously, which we're smoking tonight, which is a Paraísos 50 ring gauge by 4 3/4. And they have a new one coming out, announced in 2020. Of course, it's not out yet. It's going to be either a dress box of 50 cigars, and they're also going to have 10 aluminum tins of 5. It's called the Triunfos Petite Corona. So I would think that that's going to be very similar to the Partagas, and Upman, I believe, has those tins. Or maybe Hoyo does those 5-pack tins.
Yes.
The Capitals had them.
I think it's going to be the same.
And then the worst release that R&J ever put out was they were just absolutely terrible. What were those called?
I like the Upman tin of 5.
The Upman,
Those are great.
Yeah,
but that's a
Upman
different
Corona,
one.
That's a
I know.
different kind of thing.
That's true.
Didn't R&J put out something in a tin at the same time that the Partagas Capitals came out? Which, by the way, I feel like I have some of those.
We do. You and I split that box as well.
And I don't know. They were really not very good when they first came out.
The Julieta is a small Panatella that comes in a 5-pack aluminum tin. Oh, the Club Kings.
The Club
That's
Kings.
what you're thinking of.
Just absolutely
From-
terrible.
From
just
Romeo.
They were just terrible. With no potential. The Capital had some potential. I mean, maybe we revisited at some point. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe in about 20 years.
No. It wasn't like so bad. It's Partagas. I mean, it wasn't like it was so terrible. It was just it was so young. It tasted so young.
You're not done with the Vitola list, are you?
That's it.
Punch
That's all the
Punch.
Punch
You
has.
didn't mention Punch Punch.
I didn't mention Punch Punch?
Nope.
Oh, sorry about that, Bam.
That is
Of course, the Punch Punch headliner, the Coronas Gordas, 46 by 5 and 5/8 inches. You are correct. And what I love about that cigar, not only is its size, but it comes in the dress box of 25. It also comes in the aluminum tubes of 10. It used to come in a slide lid box of 50, which is
they come in a 50 cap, but
discontinued in 2017.
The 50 cap?
Yeah, they don't make those anymore.
Oh, you got them, Rooster.
Yeah, Rooster has a
Connoisseur
2014.
corner. But I love that. Wait a minute. You have 350 cabs?
2014.
Share the wealth. What the hell? Oh, I'm going to talk to you offline.
2014.
We're going to have an offline conversation. But the tubos in that Punch Punch.
What do you mean we're going to have an offline conversation? What does that even mean?
He wants to fight Rooster.
We're going to make a deal.
And get some cigars.
I'll make you a deal you can't refuse.
But speaking of small cigars, though, not that this is really small. It's
short.
somewhat
It's not small.
It's somewhat diminutive in stature, but the Partagas Short, to me, is the best small cigar out there.
Half Corona for me.
Well,
H.
Ramon.
Upman.
What, the Demita?
The Club Corona.
The Club Corona.
Small Club Corona.
Yeah,
we
the
did
small
that.
Club Corona.
We did that on a previous
Yes, we did.
short
Yeah.
smoke special.
I brought that to the group. I mean,
Yes,
I
you
was the
did.
one who brought it
It's
in.
like
I love the cigar.
Yeah.
I mean,
Puba introduced me to that cigar.
and it's a great great smoke. But I think pound for pound, though, if you're talking like something that really outpunches its weight class, I mean, a Partagas Short out of a good cabinet with some age on it.
I love
Dude,
that cigar.
I think that cigar
is
do
the
love that
best.
cigar.
I think that cigar,
It's classy.
put its
actually.
size aside. I think that stands up to any cigar in the Habanos catalog, regular production, as far as quality smoke.
Yeah.
The Partagas Short is right there.
but the
It-
flavor
And
is
what I
so
love
good.
about it is it truly has the best of Partagas DNA in it. It's not an offshoot like so
No.
many other small cigars, even with long filler in the Habanos catalog. They just aren't in the same line.
No.
This is right next to any of the best
Yep.
of Partagas, in my opinion.
In my opinion, too.
So,
I
you know,
think they're
it's funny.
fantastic.
A lot of people that smoke the half Corona and that Partagas Short, they're going to immediately say half Corona. I haven't.
By the
No,
way,
they're not.
I know you do.
for the listener out there, we're talking about the H.
H.
Upman
Upman half Corona.
half Corona.
right?
and the Partagas Short.
Now, the reason for that, this is just my opinion, if you haven't smoked Cuban cigars for very long, that Partagas Short is a more sophisticated cigar, and there's beautiful subtle notes in that cigar that you chase. It takes a guy that smoked, or a girl that smoked cigars, Cubans for a while, to actually capture that. Where the H. Upman, it's like a hammer and it hits you with flavor right away.
Thank you for that hammer in my stomach right now.
I hear you. But the Partagas Short is a more sophisticated cigar. But from the point of view of flavor, and I love the flavor of that cigar, but it takes a seasoned guy to really get it.
Does
I
it
think
need more age, you think, the Partagas?
That I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, it needs some, but but so does the half Corona is a lighter cigar.
Yes, it is.
It's a much lighter bodied cigar. The Partagas Short is, to me, is more complex. It's just got a lot more to it.
There's more complexity for sure.
than the half Corona, which gives you those Upman flavors in a very abbreviated way. Those kind of dessert flavors where
it's not as subtle.
You kind of get like the Partagas Short, like just punches out of its weight class, in my opinion, in terms of what it delivers.
So I love the D6.
Yeah,
I mean, D6
Love
is
that
like
cigar.
a concentrated flavors of the
D4.
D4 into a D6, into a smaller
That's correct.
format, and it's awesome.
Well, that's that. I agree, and the presentation's great.
Yeah.
I've got an aged box of those, and they're fantastic. They're
We should do that.
2015s.
We should do that on the short smoke special in the winter,
Please.
in February or January.
Yeah,
Please.
We should do the Partagas D6.
We should do the Monty, the Media Corona,
Media Corona.
That's a good
Media
one, too.
Corona
It's a
with
nice
the D6
Yeah.
as one episode.
Yeah. I don't think it was here, but speaking of like shorter cigars, did we review? If we did, I wasn't here. Did we review the Monte Cristo number 2, the short one? What's it called again?
The petite number 2.
The petite number
we did
2.
not.
Did
We have
we
not done that.
ever do that cigar?
No.
I think that's a sleeper, maybe.
So the Partagas Short, by the way, we did on episode 16. It got an 8.0.
Great score.
Yeah, which is an
It's
appropriate
an
score
appropriate
for
score.
that
So
smoke.
it's an elite score.
Well, the thing I like about the Partagas Short is that despite its name, you can get an hour 5, hour 10 out of that cigar if you don't smoke it terribly fast.
You're absolutely
You
right.
can get it's a real value in
and
that cigar.
that's where the complexity of
love
that cigar comes in, because of it's so complex and the flavors are so subtle. You're chasing.
It
You're
has
taking your time.
Has a much longer finish than a half
Yeah.
Corona. It's
Yeah.
a great smoke.
Yeah. Where the half Corona, it's all flavor and you're going through it really quick. That's how I smoke that cigar.
So yeah, the mother factory, like we said, of Punch, the cigar we're smoking tonight is La Corona, which we were so fortunate to tour a few times when we've been to Cuba. Punch obviously gets a lot of special releases and is very popular for regional editions. And I think the thing that I've, we talked about this on a previous episode when we did Punch, but I think the brand name Punch itself kind of leads people to believe that it's going to punch you in the face.
Really?
You know? Yeah. I mean, when I hear punch, I think like this is going to punch you in the face.
It's aggressive. You get the assumption.
You get the assumption that it's an aggressive brand name, but I don't think it certainly aligns with the name, the flavor profile on the cigar.
No.
However, I've not had the non-Cuban version of it, so I don't know.
Nor do you want
if those are rough.
Yeah, I haven't really smoked many of those.
So the other thing that's cool about this cigar too is this was Cigar Aficionado's number 5 cigar of 2020.
Really?
Yeah, made the top 5.
Amazing.
Dude.
That legitimizes the whole thing. Really, just that. You know what? That validates all the commentary
You know what? We can keep
here
going
tonight.
You know what?
Thank
Puba is going to
That's
throw his
that-
short to punch against the wall now.
That really validates everything.
Is this the cigar that Mark
Give me a break.
Mark Wahlberg smokes?
Oh boy.
Oh, God.
I don't understand.
All right, so for the listener, let's just tee it up here.
Such bullshit.
We lizards are a little frustrated that Cigar Aficionado puts out a big episode and is sending us emails every day with 2-minute clips of an interview with Mark Walhberg for the cover of Cigar Aficionado with Marvin R. Shanken, who I don't know a bigger fan of Marvin R. Shanken than Marvin R. Shanken, this guy.
Yeah.
Okay. The guy doesn't smoke cigars.
Nope.
So can I caveat something? I really like Mark Wahlberg in terms of
So do I.
as an actor.
Yeah.
I think like his ethos is in like he stands on his own 2 feet.
He works his
in
ass off.
Hollywood. He works his ass off. I think the guy makes good movies. He's talented, and he actually stands for what he believes
And he
in.
came
and in
from
this
nothing.
world,
He came from nothing.
he
Yeah.
did, but
Yeah.
he's been a success since he was a teenager.
Of
But my
course.
point is that like he stands on his own 2 feet, and he says, "This is what I stand for. Whether you agree with him or not, I'm down with that because this is America." And he moved out of Hollywood, and he moved out to I think Nevada somewhere. Anyway, I'm down with his actual
Me too. I have
his
no
whole
problem.
scene. I have no problem with it, but like I just don't think he should be on the cover of Cigar Aficionado when
He doesn't.
he
talk-
doesn't
yeah.
smoke cigars.
It's absolutely disingenuous.
That's all.
It's
Yeah.
disingenuous.
By the way, I don't
It's a problem with the publication. I don't have a
course.
problem.
I don't think
with
he
Mark
drinks
Wahlberg.
either. So that angle, he has a tequila company, which is what they're
He's
pushing.
got to drink.
I don't think he does. I don't think he drinks that much.
God bless him if he doesn't. But I mean, more power to him. But
Yeah.
how do you promote a tequila brand? Well, you have to fact check that shit.
I'll fact check it.
He's got to drink if he's got a tequila brand.
Yeah, but how are you in Cigar Aficionado when you don't smoke cigars?
That's the problem I
That's
have. with it.
awful.
And the way that the magazine cuts
on.
the interview up into these 2-minute clips, and they're sending an email every day. Here's what Mark Walhberg thinks about his movies. Here's what he thinks about his early career. Just put the interview out. Like you're peppering the inbox with a guy who doesn't even celebrate this hobby.
Let me ask. I did not read the full article, but
It's effectively
is the tequila is he using? Are they using a diffuser, or are they actually?
It doesn't even get
No
into
clue.
that. It
No
doesn't
clue.
even get into that. It's just a career retrospective. Tell me about making this movie. Tell me about making that movie. That's the whole article. The cover of our cigar.
But they don't, and then they just plug his tequila
plug the
brand.
tequila.
That's all
Yep.
it is. It's a marketing ploy.
It's a marketing thing.
I-
And listen, to your point, I'm a big Mark Wahlberg guy.
Me too.
One of the top 3 movies, when it's on the television,
The Departed.
I stop.
That's a great movie.
The Departed is a little more intense than this one. Hear me
Great
out.
movie.
Hear me out.
Ted.
I know what it is. Boogie Nights.
Did you ever see Shooter?
Yes, that's
Shooter,
a great
yeah.
movie.
Oh,
Shoot-
yeah, Shooter's
okay,
good.
Shooter's
Excellent.
one of those movies. When it's on TNT,
Yeah, you got to
it's
stop.
an instant stop.
Dude, Lone Survivor. Lone
Sur-
Survivor.
But that's a little heavy too for
It is heavy.
emotionally heavy.
It's heavy.
Shooter's just a fun. I'm gonna go out and just take some people out. Great movie.
The guy's a great guy. It's Cigar Aficionado.
It's the problem.
That's like
But he doesn't smoke cigars.
When you look at the comment section on every post the Cigar Aficionado has put up, almost every comment from readers of Cigar Aficionado who are commenting on these Instagram posts are saying exactly the same thing we are.
That's right.
So to put someone on the magazine and someone who doesn't smoke cigars, think about cigars,
makes
talk
no
about
sense.
cigars,
Makes no sense.
you're disrupting the trust that you have with your readership, your
Right.
subscribers.
Right. Well,
who are-
honestly, look,
it's odd.
they've lost the trust years ago the way they rate their cigars. Right. That's a whole nother conversation.
It's an odd decision.
you can't say no to that guy's agent because Mark, whoever his agent is, represents the top 10 to 20 A-list celebrities in the world.
Yeah.
And he probably just is like, this guy wants to talk about, this is part of the PR swing.
Yeah. He's talking about
I get what you're saying. I
he's
get it.
talking about tequila.
How do you
that
say
he
no to
doesn't
this
drink.
guy's agent?
He just doesn't belong on CA.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
He
simple
should
enough.
be on Wine Spectator,
Yeah. Agreed.
which
Because
is also a
look, he's selling a tequila.
well-subscribed
He's trying to
magazine.
sell a
Right,
tequila.
Right, he's not selling cigars.
Very difficult to say no.
You're not
I
saying
could-
no, though. You're just not putting him in CA. You're just putting him in another publication.
How do I say no to this?
So you think CA has a much larger subscribership compared to?
No, I'm
Wine-
saying that
Wine
this,
Spectator.
whoever, his management, you say no, then it trickles through, and then he's thinking, I'm not going to get access to this other guy or to this other guy because the agent, his representation is going to hold a grudge.
I think can I just say, here's my thinking on Marvin Shanken when Mark Wahlberg's agent calls, is I'm going to put this guy on my cover and I'm going to sell way more magazines because the people that are walking through the magazine shop at Barnes & Noble, they're going to pick this up and buy it. That's what he's thinking. That's the yes.
Yeah.
Simple enough. He wants to sell magazines. He wants to sell magazines.
Yeah, he wants to sell magazines,
Simple
but
enough.
but
And he wants the clicks and he wants the video views
Mhm.
and he wants the attention. And I get all that. I'm fine with all of it. It's just what we do and what we have here in this very niche community. And you put the name of the magazine is Cigar Aficionado. Just talk about cigars for 10 seconds.
Yeah, and
I disagree slightly because I don't think it's about selling individual books that month. I think it's about him saying no and having access in the future.
It's repercussions. as
That's
well.
what I'm saying.
Yeah, repercussions.
I get it. But I think it's dumb.
It is
And
dumb.
I was very irritated when I got that.
I think
magazine
it's
and-
dumb too.
and
Yeah. Rooster, what were you saying?
No, I was going to agree with Puba about, if he says no to Mark Walhberg, he might be cutting off that whole agency's pissing them off, and that's Marvin Shanklin's
There's a
whole
repercussion
business.
Yeah,
It
he's got
sells magazines because by putting celebrities' faces on the cover.
That's correct.
So-
I guarantee you 6 ways to Sunday. I guarantee you 6 ways to Sunday. That same PR people and the same agency, the same representation are people that he's already had on the cover and he doesn't want to have to get cut off. That's got to be it.
In the meantime, I'm washing this delicious short to punch down with this decent spirit that we're drinking right now.
Well, I don't know about decent.
That's decent.
It's a spirit for sure.
Oh,
It's
come
a
on.
decent bourbon. It's a 9-year age Knob Creek tonight.
Honestly, this the first sip was rough, but Pagoda, it is getting better and better.
It is.
It's improving.
I agree with you.
It's actually now that's settling in nicely with this short to punch. I'm
totally
actually
fine.
enjoying
It's a
it.
cinnamon bomb.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I'll be honest, as far as bourbon goes,
Bro,
for $32,
you can't beat that.
that's pretty damn good. And the reason why I pulled this in thinking about short smoke specials, sitting outside in the cold, smoking a cigar.
At the fire
What's
pit,
going to warm you up around the fire?
That
A
works.
bourbon, a 100 proof bourbon
100%.
with a good cigar or two.
Yeah.
In tonight's case, I mean, this is perfect for that.
I
But
like it.
we do need a lot of ice with us.
You do need a lot of
I think
ice.
I had
Yes,
a
you
need
do.
and I just couldn't hack it. Or maybe I was switching, from Belvany to this. So I think
You're such an
It's
elitist.
got a dry finish. It tastes like cinnamony.
It's nice.
It's fine.
pretty good.
It's nice.
Like I said, it's in the
Sit by
30s.
sit by the fire.
Yeah. It's barreled at 100 proof. This is the 9-year age. Not much of a story, unfortunately, on the Knob Creek tonight. It's a Beam Suntory product, ownership obviously based in Japan. We did the Suntory Japanese whiskey,
Yes, we
among
did.
some others. It's produced at the Jim Beam factory in Claremont, Kentucky, and shares a very similar recipe to Jim Beam, but obviously benefits from more age. I think it's a kind of an offshoot of Jim Beam with just the age statements on it. It was founded in 1992. It was named after Knob Creek Farm in LaRue County, Kentucky, which this is pretty cool. It's named after where President Abraham Lincoln was born and spent his childhood.
Wow.
So that's
Wow.
what this bourbon's named after. In 2009, the brand ran into a well-publicized shortage due to their under-forecasting of their production in the year 2000, which obviously is 9 years prior when the bourbon started aging. And then because of that, it lasted so long, it lasted more than 8 or 9 years. In 2016, due to the continuing shortages and increased bourbon consumption, because as we've talked about, there's been a bourbon whiskey boom over the last 15 years.
Yeah, huge uptick.
They actually removed the age statement from the bottle for 4 years.
Really?
Yeah, so there was no age statement for quite some time, and then it returned to saying it was 9-year aged in 2020 when they were able to catch up,
Why did that happen?
because they were so short on they under forecasted how much consumption there was because of the 9
see.
age thing,
Okay.
that they actually pulled the age statement and were selling, I guess, younger blended stuff. Its sister brands, aside from Jim Beam, are Booker's, Baker's, and Basil Hayden, which we've done on the pod. They also offer a single barrel reserve, which is bottled at 120 proof, a rye whiskey, a smoked maple bourbon, which I don't think that would be something we would be trying on this podcast, and other limited editions. The other one that I would try, though, in 22, they introduced Knob Creek 18-year-old,
Oh, yeah.
which is the oldest expression that they've released. So 18-year aged, I'm curious, double this
Yeah.
age, I would think it'd be even a little smoother.
I like this because it has, for me, a floral finish. And I think Puba's right on the money. It's cinnamon on the front
Yeah.
for me. It's
And,
nice.
and I think this cigar, as Puba was saying, the kind of medium to full
It works
body,
with the short
it
to
actually
punch.
works perfectly
very
with the
nicely.
cigar.
it is actually working.
Yeah.
Now with the ice, and you're right. Then
Mm-hmm.
once it settles in, it's
Very drinkable.
more than drinkable for sure.
What's the price point?
I think I got it for 32 on sale. I think normally it's around 37.
That's a bargain.
So that's a bargain bourbon
Yeah, it's
with
good.
9 years age on it.
It's totally serviceable. I mean, anywhere. I mean, it's very good for me.
I think I would make Manhattans out of this for sure.
Yeah, Knob Creek is good for cocktails. Yeah.
Right, like yeah, I could see I could see that Pagoda because it's dry enough where it's not closer to a rye, but you know how a rye is dry. So if you mixed it in and you know you're gonna add a little simple syrup or a sugar cube to make an old fashioned with some bitters. This isn't so sweet. Where it would be great as a mix, you know, to do a mixed drink with.
And it doesn't have where some of that bourbon, to your point when mixing, it doesn't have that like odd aftertaste that I get sometimes on a bourbon that I don't love.
Right.
Like it's just kind of the finish is smooth. It's dry, like you said, but it's quick.
It's clean.
And it's not sticking around, which I like.
Yeah.
You know, and to me, it's not coloring the flavor of the cigar much.
I'm enjoying the combo tonight.
I am too. So what do you guys think of the cigar? We're over, you know, probably into the last third now, past the halfway point.
I've had many of these, and I've never had a bad one. And I think this cigar just gets better as you smoke it. It's delicious for me.
Mine has upticked, and I'm getting like a little bit of a spice now, which I'm liking.
It is. It has picked up in strength a little bit, but again, to your point, like I've never had a bad short to punch.
Never.
No draw issues.
No plugs. Nothing.
Yeah, excellent draw.
And the flavor, it's just so cool and unique. It's really, really good.
It is. It probably doesn't get as much recognition as it deserves. It's a bit more complex up front, and then I think down the stretch for me gets a little bit like flat and one-dimensional, but not in like a really terrible way. Not in a way that I don't like. It's just
probably just a short finish that you're experiencing.
Yeah, it's just not. I mean, it's a really good serviceable cigar. Like it's just a really good daily kind of driver.
I think he nailed it though. That's exactly. I didn't quite know how to put it. I'm kind of thinking about how to put that into words. I think that it has dropped in complexity as it's kind of gone past the halfway point.
But I'll be blunt though. I kind of disagree a tiny bit because I still get that pungent note with a combination of fruit and floral. As far as I'm concerned, my humble opinion, that is the very definition of what a complex cigar can
I just think it's dropped one level in complexity where right now I'm getting a little bit of the pungent thing and a little bit of spice.
Mm-hmm.
I think that kind of twangy, really interesting thing on the front of my mouth has been taken over by the spice. So, and I'm not really getting much sweetness.
Interesting. I don't.
So I think it's just. I just think it's a little bit less complex at this point than it was for the first.
But it's very much at the end.
It's very much
at the end.
That's a good
so
point.
it's kind of like it's concluding, but it's not concluding in a bad way. It's just kind of it's ending. It's which I think is okay. It's a short cigar. I'm going to smoke this for a couple more minutes and then I'm going to drop it.
Yeah.
Yep. It's just the upfront is the first half or first 2/3 are just more interesting than like the last third.
Yeah.
It kind of just flattens out and becomes a little bit one-dimensional. But I mean, I think for what it is, that's perfectly okay.
Yeah, I was getting like these muted floral flavors in the beginning, which is totally dissipated.
Me too.
I don't know. I need to hear Rooster on this because I have a little different. Look at him.
He's over here, by the way. So Rooster's relighting a cigar with what looks like a.
He's going to singe his eyebrows.
Out, by the way, with a soft flame. Rooster, we'll be here when you're ready.
Yeah, whenever you're ready.
So, what were you saying?
I think he needs a whole episode for this.
I think you and I love this cigar more than anyone in the room. I want to hear what your opinion is right now, where this cigar is.
I mean, I kind of agree with the guys what they're saying about the cigar. It's not. To me, it's not flat right now.
I agree. I don't see it as flat.
But it has changed in profile a little bit.
But the spice is
up.
up.
The notes that we were getting in the beginning.
Yeah, true.
Those have kind of,
dissipated.
Those are dissipated or subdued a little bit, at this point.
But
it's picked up in strength. I don't know if it's nicotine or like you're getting more tobacco.
Could be.
It's just, it's like we had this robust flavor profile we talked about.
It's true.
And somebody just threw a blanket over it.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
It's a little bit of tar. It's a little bit of like youthy youngness that just is introducing itself at the end here that just isn't as interesting as the front.
And I think,
which isn't unusual.
That's not. That's true.
It's kind of just not. It's showing a little bit of its youth. I think that a few more years maybe or something that this would smooth out and become maybe a little bit more interesting.
I think the smell at the burn line right now is actually more interesting to me than the draw.
That has always been good from the beginning and still pretty good.
Yeah, I think the smell at the burn line maintained its
I agree.
interesting note to my nose, but
And that's important.
it is, but it's just not. It's not.
No,
doing
but
it
it's
for me on the
working
draw.
really well with the spirit.
It is.
Yeah, it
Like
is.
right now, I think if you have like a sip,
So that's just it.
with every puff, it's excellent.
Yeah, that spice, this spirit cuts that peppery note that you're getting in the cigar really nicely.
Yeah, I think like the last inch I could smoke of this thing, like I'd probably, if I was just by myself, I'd probably
drop
take
it.
a couple more puffs and drop it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's good.
Yeah.
It's served its purpose.
Sure.
And I'm good now. You know what I mean? I don't need to drag it out.
Yeah,
That's
I
fair.
agree with
That's
you.
pretty fair.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
All right, boys, let's do the former lizard rating on the punch short to punch tonight. Rooster, you're up.
Oh, I was expecting the liquor rating first.
No, we're gonna do
No,
that at the
that's
end.
last.
Okay. I'm gonna give it an 8.
Okay. Pooba.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8 too.
I'm also right there. I think this
Yeah.
is firmly an 8.
Yeah.
I think if it maintained that complexity, I would be, hoping that it ended up around a 91, 92 composite. But I
Yep.
think if this ends up 7 or 8, I'm very happy with that. This is an 8 for me all day.
Mhm.
Pagoda.
Yeah, I'll give it an 8 as well. I think I really enjoyed the beginning part. I'm still enjoying it with the spirit. It's been fantastic.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I can't really complain. The combustion's been great. It feels good in your hand, and
The construction.
the construction's also
Construction
good.
was excellent.
Yeah,
And I
well,
think that
excellent
plays
draw.
to, and Bam, I don't mean to interrupt your rating, but
No,
I
it's
think
fine.
it plays to the fact that it's a Corona Mother Factory cigar. I
Yeah.
think all of the boxes I've seen have Corona Factory
Yeah.
codes on them. And it's only the last 4 years, which we know is well after Cuba has had the, quality control issues and manufacturing issues consistently. Like this cigar is kind of in this fresh window of pretty consistent manufacturing, at least definitely out of the mother factories in Cuba. So
True.
I think the cigar benefited.
True,
Bam, sorry to
true.
interrupt.
No, it's okay. I've got 2 2019 boxes of this cigar. I'm going to hold on to it for another year. I haven't tried any of those yet. I'll try one next year, give it 5 years and see what it's like. But I will give this cigar an 8. I think that's a very fair score.
All right.
Thanks.
So
Great score for this cigar.
Yeah.
formal lizard rating, boys, is a flat 8.0, which is, I think, perfect for this cigar.
Did you pull out the
Really good, and
calculator for
it's
that?
still-
I
by
did.
the way,
I did the math, Bam.
Just for clarification, I still think it's really good.
It is.
So
I do too.
depending on what
It
my
is.
appetite was or my mood,
Yeah.
like I could put it down now. I could spend 5 more minutes with it, 6, 7 more minutes with it. But it's really, there's nothing bad about the finish.
Yeah, I just don't know, how did they come up with the decision of packing these at
And a
just
10
10
count.
in a box and
I know.
not 20 or 25?
It's a good
Like,
question.
who
It
makes
is.
that decision?
I don't know.
Yeah, and from a marketing standpoint, maybe they're just-
Cubans.
maybe they,
For sure.
Cuba being Cuba.
yeah, I mean, maybe they have data that cigars of this size, like under Robusto, just perform better in 10 count boxes. From a sales standpoint, who knows what it is, but I'm happy with the 10 count of these because I'm not
and-
reaching for them terribly.
I
often.
mean, they use AI.
AI.
Yeah, they use AI.
Yeah, AI.
Yes.
No chat GPT over there.
I don't think there's much chat GPT.
It's cool to have a cigar in a La Corona factory and smoke it here stateside. It's very cool. There's
Yeah.
something about that.
Yeah, especially knowing the people that are there
Yeah.
and meeting so many of those folks.
Yeah, it
and
was awesome.
those memories. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is nice. And when you have a cigar out of Corona that performs as well,
Right.
construction wise as this did, I mean, the burn was great. The
Yep.
combustion, as Pagoda mentioned, was great. I mean, it was really, really excellent. All right, so you boys ready to move on to our second cigar tonight?
Yes, sir.
Our New World, the Liga Privada Unico Serie. It's called the Papas Fritas. It's a 44 ring gauge cigar by 4.5 inches long,
And a pigtail.
and it has a pigtail.
Rooster's favorite.
Love it.
And for the first time on the podcast, it only has one band, and the band is on the foot.
Yeah.
Which, classic for this specific cigar. It's been out quite a bit of time. came out over 13 years ago in 2012.
They come in 50 cabs.
Used to. Now
Used
they come
to.
in 25.
That's right.
They don't come in 50
No,
cabs.
they
No.
discontinued that.
This is a delicious cigar.
Yeah, I can't wait. So it does have that
Delicious.
pigtail on it.
The
Great in
wrapper,
the hand.
The wrapper smells a little minty for some reason.
I am getting that. I'm getting a lot of dried fruit though on the foot.
On the foot, absolutely.
Yeah. It smells really nice.
I used to smoke these a lot.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
More secrets from Puba.
I
Yeah,
know.
back in the day, I used to smoke these a
New
lot.
World Secrets.
Yeah.
So
I
I
used
pulled.
to. I haven't had one in years.
So
and
I'm not
years.
going to cut mine.
So I pulled the tip off, and I'm gonna just do a little cut.
I'm pulling the pigtail off.
Well, let's cut this thing, boys. See, we're getting on the cold draw.
Pagoda, what kind of cutter is this?
It's a horrible cutter.
Is it? It like looks so cool though.
Honestly, the cold draw on this is really delicious, guys.
Mm.
A lot of raisin, dried fruit.
Little figgy, little raisin.
Open, wide open.
I feel like I'm home.
So you smoked the cigar a lot. So Pagoda's been bringing this cigar to the table quite a bit. He keeps saying, when are we doing Papas Fritas? When are we doing Papas Fritas? And I'm happy we're doing it because when I think about this cigar, I think of you.
Yes,
No,
sir.
this is excellent. You know, I'm a big Liga number 9 fan as
Yeah,
well.
so am I. Yep.
And I think the initial, or even now, I think Papas Fritas was using all the leaves, the tobacco leaves from the Liga 9. They were
Yes.
not really fillers. They
It's-
were using the medium length leaves which were left out, and
Yeah, so the filler in this, it's Honduran and Nicaraguan. They call it tripa corta, which means short filler. It's not technical short filler, like you said. It's just left over from
Yeah.
all the other Liga cigars they make. This is the leftover leaves, so they're not wasting anything. So it's not a technical short filler. It's still handmade, but it's not the classic. If you were to cut this open, you're not going to find whole leaves like you would in a lot of other cigars. But people love the cigar, like Pagoda, like Puba. So like I said, I never had the cigar before, so I'm really excited
Yeah,
to
it's
try it.
crazy that you haven't had this. Let's light it up,
Yeah,
please.
let's light
And
this thing, boys.
I do want to give a shout out to Steve Abreu, who's a junior banker who introduced me to these. You know, that guy is a lizard.
Lizard Steven?
Lizard Steve.
All
So,
right.
yeah.
Steve.
All right.
And, you know, he introduced me to these, and I've been a fan ever since.
Yeah, this is truly a delicious stick.
So again, boys, this is a 44 ring gauge cigar by 4.5 inches long.
And these are under $8, if I'm not
They're
mistaken.
like $6,
Oh, that's crazy.
which is actually the same price that they were launched at in 2012.
Fantastic.
You can still get them for $6. That's how much I got these for tonight.
Great deal.
Nice on the light.
Yeah, they're nice.
I want to hear what Giz is thinking. It's the first time you've had this.
Yeah, it's to me, it's very much in the same family as the other Ligas that I've had, namely the Corona Viva from Liga Privada. I love that cigar. I smoke it quite a bit. You know, to Puba's point, it's one of those cigars you can smoke in a hurricane. So when I do outdoor stuff, I reach for the Corona Viva when I don't want to have an exclusivo from Padron. This is right in line with that.
Yeah, I feel like it's funny. It's weird you said hurricane because I remember smoking this cigar. There was a there was a storm. No, I'm being totally serious.
I believe you.
There was a storm.
Hurricane Sandy.
No. It wasn't during Sandy. It was the one after that that was kind of semi serious. Which one was that? It was
Irma?
where like there was a lot of power outages and I had to go to like a hotel.
It was
One
like
in- the one in April, right? Was the one in April?
Maybe it was April.
We lost
Yeah.
power.
And it was years ago. Anyway, and I remember I went to the Marriott over in Park Ridge, and I remember grabbing a cup of coffee.
Chatfields.
Chatfields,
Chatfields.
exactly. That's what used to be there. Chatfields. That was what the bar was called. And I remember I requested a room with a balcony.
Mm. You have to request a balcony at the hotel.
Yeah, and I'm on this balcony. It's like a 2-foot balcony.
Every
You know what I
lizard
mean?
needs a balcony.
Right. And I remember going out and the kids were little. And I remember I said, Julie, listen, I said, I'm just going out for a cigar on the balcony. She's like, well, oh, it's not a great example, but okay, fine. And this is what I smoked. I smoked a Papas Fritas.
Mrs. Puba, pull the curtains.
No,
will
but
ya?
I remember how satisfying it was. I was so thankful that I had a couple of these like in my car. And and I had a cup of coffee from the lobby, and I smoked one. I was like, oh my God, it was like so good.
Perfect short smoke in a hurricane.
How are you going to beat that, man?
Yeah, it was like post-hurricane. It was our post-tropical storm or whatever it was.
This is really great on the light, and this is definitely a full-bodied affair.
Full flavored.
Definitely full.
You know, the Tatuaje little
Petite Cazadores.
dude.
Yeah.
This is kind of in the same DNA family from the point of view of the flavor profile.
And price
for
point.
me. And price point.
Yeah.
What a value.
Equivalent to 4 of the short to punch.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, but I always liked this cigar better than the Tatuaje.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
There's
It's a little bigger.
It's
a little,
bigger, but
yeah.
there's more sweetness to this than you get in that Tatuaje, that Petit Cazadores. But this is really, I've never had a bad.
Never.
I what I like about this versus the Petite Cazadores is I like that there's an absence of that Nicaraguan spice that Tatuaje is
Right.
always trying to punch you in the face
That's
with
true.
that damn
That's
spice.
right. That's
true.
right.
And this is
This
more
what I
of-
like.
in
That's
line
what
with that sweet but earthy complexity and definitely full. Like
Yeah.
this is like if you're, at Tapuba's point, you're at a hotel, you take the lady away for a weekend, you go out to dinner, you want to have a quick smoke after dinner.
This is perfect.
This is perfect for that on the balcony at the hotel. Like this is
When she's
totally in
sleeping,
line
yeah.
with that. Yeah, when she
And the
falls asleep.
combustion is like super good.
It is.
And it smells great at the head of the cigar and at the burn line. It's
You-
really working.
I haven't retroed yet, but I will now.
But I think most of the guys I've given this, because I used to hand a lot of these out, nobody has once said that this is not a cigar they like. They
Right.
all have really enjoyed it. And, we do smoke in this flavor profile on and off. So,
Mhm. This is definitely up your wheelhouse, though. Poop.
yeah, this is
Yeah.
yeah.
Pagoda.
No, definitely.
Yeah, but to me, it's not aggressive. It's just
It's
just kind
not.
of full flavored, but
Well,
like
see,
not
no.
strong.
What he's saying is accurate, and I would actually give this to a cigar novice.
Yeah,
to
yeah, I would
for,
too.
To enjoy for the first time.
I have.
Yeah, and this is a great introduction. It'll keep you It'll keep you in the pursuit of cigars.
And compared to that cigar we just smoked at $23, $24, $25,
Oh, bro.
to give them this $6 cigar and they put it down, it's not going to break your heart if they do, but it seems unlikely that they will given how this is tasting.
This
it's
is
ridiculous.
like this. If you have if you're on a golf course and you've got a beer, like an IPA,
9-hole
in the cart, you know what I mean, and you just like don't give a fuck about paying attention to the cigar,
There's one a hole.
but you want it to smoke. You know what I mean? And it's $6, and it's pleasant.
Yeah, this is really nice.
and I'll
It's
tell
where
you,
it slots for me. It's like, or like, your wife calls you in from the balcony and you got to put it out halfway through. It's
Your-
like,
your
okay,
heart's
I'm
not
down.
broken.
I'm down $3.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like, but it's good. I mean,
But even
smoke it in the car and you get halfway through it and you get to your destination and you thought
Yeah.
you were going to hit traffic, you got to ditch it.
Yep.
Who cares? It's a good solid smoke.
I would.
You're like, if you're like Coach Buttermaker. If you're Buttermaker, you know what I mean? And you're coaching the Bad News Bears and and a parent walks up and you got to throw your cigar out.
You're fine.
You're good.
It's $6.
You throw it in the outfield.
No, but but Puba, I don't even know what to say, because even if you were to go and look for the cigar the day after, you'd find it and you light it up, you'd still be able to smoke
Oh,
it.
Yeah, it'd be totally fine.
I'm
Probably.
guessing Pagoda has done that.
No, I tend to finish these.
What's
very
the
quickly.
binder and filler in this?
So the wrapper is Connecticut broadleaf Maduro. The binder is Brazilian Mata Fina. It's Brazilian binder, like the CAO we had. I believe we did one other Brazilian cigar. And the filler, like I said, is Honduran and Nicaraguan Tripa Corta, it's called, which is short filler, just the leftovers in the factory.
I'm impressed with the pronunciation
I'm
tonight.
trying, man.
Wow, look at you.
I'm
Is it
Tripa
Babel?
Corta.
Is it Babel?
It's Babel, and it's we're over 100 episodes of you guys busting my balls on how I pronounce this.
Anyone remember Tatum O'Neal?
Yeah.
Of course.
It's married
Tatum-
to McEnroe.
Right.
Sure was.
Do you remember Tatum O'Neal and the Bad
Yeah.
News Bears?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember
That was a great
her?
movie. That was a great movie.
I mean, wow. Throwing the baseball,
Yeah.
pitching. Kelly Leak. Remember Kelly Leak with
Yeah.
the motorcycle?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
I
what
wasn't
you guys
born
are
then.
talking
I
about.
wasn't born
You've
then.
never seen the
No.
Bad News Bears,
Never
the
heard of
movie?
it. Nope.
Never heard of it.
Never heard of it.
till tonight.
Dude,
Nope.
It's a classic.
All right, I'll watch it.
It's a classic.
So, boys, this cigar was released in December 2012. Obviously, the name Papas Fritas translates to French fries, which the CEO at the time from Drew Estate, Steve Saka, that was one of his favorite foods. And hopefully, I guess it performs better than the other food cigar we did, the Tatuaje pork loin,
Yeah, that was
Lomo de Cerdo. This
not-
is the
not good.
second
Pork
food related.
loin?
Yeah.
Not good.
So this cigar, as we talked about how they shipped, they used to come in 4-pack tins. So you'd actually used to get a bundle of 7 tins, 28 cigars. Then they moved it to a 50 cab, and now it's only available in a 25 count cab.
Right. That's right.
And it was blended by Nick Melillo, who of course was the blend master at Drew Estate for a long period of time. Liga Privada, who now founded Foundation Cigars, which we've done quite a few of his cigars.
Yeah.
And all was under the direction of Drew Estate CEO Steve Saka, who also has his own brand now. So both of those guys have left Drew Estate since the cigar was released, coming up on 13 years ago.
I love everything Nick does anyway. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've had some really good experiences
Yes.
with Nick Cigar.
Yes.
Nick Cigars on the podcast.
But it's very smooth. This is not an aggressive cigar.
No, and if you retrohale this, you get a ton of cocoa. It balances the experience really nicely.
Yeah, it's a rustic cigar.
Yeah.
I'm getting a bit of like a minerality,
Yeah,
kind of
minerality.
thing on the front of my tongue. Are you
not
guys
yet.
getting that? It's like metal almost.
No,
like
not me.
I'm not getting
metal.
like earthy minerality. is what
Earthy's nice. I like that. Yeah. And with the Knob Creek, if you take a draw of the cigar and sip your Knob Creek, it's really wonderful. The combination's great.
If you want some cognac, it goes great with it.
That's true too.
No, but the interesting thing about the Knob Creek is that
Just saying.
it's enhanced both the cigars. I think
It
the
was funny.
second half of the first one,
Can
and it's also really helping the Papas Fritas. as well.
I agree.
It's a great combination.
I think the Knob Creek is actually going really well with this cigar, just like it did the
Absolutely,
first one,
yeah.
but in a different way.
100%.
You got to ice it up though.
I think the bourbon though is kind of opening something up about the cigar in my mouth. It's kind of giving a little bit more of a complex flavor profile.
I'm with you right there.
Like they're really working well together.
They are.
It's like it's a great budget cigar.
It is for $6. I mean, it's a quarter of the price of the Cuban we just smoked.
So think about
Yeah,
it.
it's
I mean,
crazy.
like right, or think about like how much a up and half Corona costs, or some of these things, and it with the price of Cuban cigars right now, which is kind of lunacy.
I think that's a nice way to put it, by the way. Lunacy is a very kind way to put it.
Yeah, you can substitute in something in like this. So back, instead of smoking your Partagas short while you're barbecuing, which is what I would normally do, maybe you save your Partagas short for the lounge, and you grab one of these Papas Fritas while you're barbecuing chicken in the summer.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? And having having some Knob Creek in a solo cup. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? The ice is melted
Yeah.
and it's mellowed out.
And you're in the backyard.
and you're in the
whole 9 yards.
backyard and you're barbecuing chicken and you're talking to people.
You can
And
hand
you
this
have
out to
this-
everybody too. Hand this out to everybody, and you won't.
You
feel
can
like
hand
that.
this out to
Yeah.
everybody and you're not losing and
And everybody's happy.
and everybody's
They are.
pretty happy. I think that, like, honestly, there's a place for a cigar like this that
Yeah, I think we've all modulated the consumption of our Cubans because of pricing, right? And we're pursuing new worlds
And availability.
and availability. It's because of us as a substitute, but we're pursuing those new worlds that make a lot of sense for us, right?
And we're finding on the podcast here, I
Oh,
mean, this is
dude.
just another one, like how many of these new worlds we've never would have reached for
Ever.
that have really are performing wonderfully.
Yeah.
it's a totally good cigar. Like,
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with this.
No, it's awesome. Delicious.
It doesn't have that full Nicaraguan tatuaje kind of like,
That's right.
I'm going to punch you in the face right now.
Nope.
But it's got a little bit.
I think you, Puba, can smoke that down to the nub. I
Oh,
think-
yeah. And I
yeah.
have.
Yeah,
sure.
you have. Yeah.
Sure.
The irony of it all. the irony of it all is that we're smoking this after a punch, shot the punch.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it doesn't. Yeah, I
There's
think
no
it's
punch.
in its own right, it's reasonably mellow. Like from my perspective,
Yeah, I think
Very mellow.
it's full in a really, really smooth way.
Mhm.
So I think it's kind of giving you the full flavor. It's giving you the nicotine, and it's packaged with a nice little bow on it, and it's a really, really smooth affair.
The
And
delivery is very smooth.
It's very nice. And I'll go back to the Knob Creek experience. Once you take a draw of the cigar and take a sip of that Knob Creek, it is really quite nice.
I agree.
It's awesome. It's a full flavored experience.
I mean, to buy a $32 or $36 bottle of bourbon
You're talking a
and a
great
$6 cigar,
It's a bargain night, but
that's an excellent night.
it's not just a bargain though. It's delicious. It's a delicious experience.
But like, look at the smoke just coming off the foot. It's just like flaming off.
Bro,
Like,
the-
it's just.
The room is full of smoke.
Yeah, the combustion's great.
It's great.
Gizzy, you're still there? Because I can't see you. I'm just kidding.
So, boys, Cigar Aficionado put out, which is apropos for talking about this cigar tonight, smoking this cigar. Cigar Aficionado put out the top 10 hottest cigar brands in America according to retailers.
Really?
So retailers took a poll of the cigars that people are coming in and asking for and buying.
I got to hear this.
And I'm curious what you guys
Oh, I
think
kn-
of
yeah,
the top 10.
I think I saw this.
Yeah.
Padron is number 1.
Nope.
Davidoff?
Not even close.
Really?
No. All right. So,
Fuentes.
yeah. So we'll start at
Yeah.
number 10. Rocky Patel has 7.4% of the interest from consumers walking into retailers. Number 9 is My Father, a little under 10. Romeo y Julieta, non-Cuban, 11%.
What?
Tied with Liga Privada, which surprised me. I would
That's-
have
I would think
expected
it higher.
Liga
That's
would
the
have been
problem.
higher.
Something's wrong there because this
Yep.
should be higher.
Now, this is what's weird. Padron is number 5 with the 1964 anniversary series at 12.3%. So let's hold on to that for a second because they come back to that. La Flor Dominicana Andalusian Bull, which we're going to have at some point, specifically pointing to the Andalusian Bull, not just La Flor Dominicana, that specific line of their cigars,
Yeah.
12.3%. Davidoff, number 4, 14.8%. And I'm sure price is factoring into that demand.
Yes, it is.
Number 3,
Wait, what? Repeat that one more time.
Davidoff number 4.
Davidoff number 4.
no, Davidoff's
Davidoff.
number 4 on the list.
Yeah.
It as a
a
brand.
brand.
As a brand. Yep. 14.8%, the entire brand of Davidoff. Then the Padron line, the 1000 series, I'm assuming, because they separated out 1964.
You know why
from
that? Can we just stop there?
27.2%.
Let's stop for 2 seconds because of the cost.
And the
It's
value.
very affordable.
Yeah. So when you do combine number 3 and number 5, 27.2 and 12.3 for both Padrones, that puts them at 39.5% of all demand walking into U.S. retailers goes to Padrones. So
you know what?
while they're
Jorge,
not number 1 on the list,
it's fine. They got the major market share, it sounds
Yeah.
like.
Okay, so what's number 2?
Arturo Fuente, 29.6%. And then he takes the cake with Opus X. Fuente is number 1 at 34.5%.
Wait a minute.
It's not surprising.
Opus X takes the number 1 spot
Mhm.
with that price point that they have.
Yeah.
Their average price is $40 a cigar.
They've done a
That's-
great job marketing.
Oh my gosh.
So that's so again, the top 3, Padron, the 1000 series, 27.2. Number 2, Arturo Fuente, their normal line, like the Hemingway series and whatnot, 29.6. And then Opus X from Fuente, 34.6.
But you know what's really interesting is I've gone to a lot of different stores. I don't find Padrones in many stores.
You also don't find a lot of Opus in a lot of stores,
No.
honestly.
So
You
like,
don't.
But this is the brand's most requested, not
see.
necessarily the highest
Ah.
sellers. This is the
Ah.
percentage of people walking into the retailer asking for these cigars.
Interesting.
Pretty
Yeah,
interesting.
I just wonder what the methodology was for the
Yeah.
reporting. Like, is
Yeah.
it just is it anecdotal? I mean, they're not writing down quantitatively what every person walks in and asks for. So they're
I
just
think it's a
giving
gut feeling,
anecdotal,
probably.
qualitative read on.
So let's now move to the best-selling brands,
Okay.
actual sales.
That's what
Well,
matters.
Percentage of
more
retails.
quantitative.
Number 10, Romeo y Julieta, 5%. I'm rounding up. La Flor Dominicana, the entire brand, 6.1. Ashton, number 8, 6.1, tying with La
See, there
Flor
you go.
Dominicana.
Because they would be in the conversation
Exactly.
for sure.
Yeah.
And there's
Right.
some others in here that we haven't heard from in the
Right.
requested.
This is quantitative data.
Exactly. Number
Right.
number 7, Rocky Patel, 8.6%. This one, no surprise. Number 6 is Perdomo,
Uh-huh.
19.8%.
A lot of people love that line.
Yep. Now we're into the top 5. My Father, 21%. Oliva is number 3, tied with
Not
Davidoff,
surprising.
22.4. Arturo Fuente is number 2, 44.4. And number 1 is Padron,
There you
There
go.
you go.
Yeah.
So that all makes
48%.
well,
Now
that makes
we're
sense.
cooking.
Now we're
cooking with gas because that's quantitative data that's based on sales.
Exactly.
As my mom used to say, now we're cooking with Crisco. Okay.
Right?
So yeah, that's pretty interesting.
Yeah,
Padron is the number 1 seller.
If you were to rack it in grinders terms, if you were to rack and stack it, it would come in about that.
Makes sense.
It is amazing to see Padron at nearly one out of every
almost
2
half.
cigars sold is
Yeah.
Padron.
Look,
Yeah,
it's-
but not surprising.
no,
Yeah, for their quality.
it's a testament to consistency.
But
really.
So-
they don't market nearly as hard as the rest of these manufacturers.
They don't need to.
Exactly.
They don't need to.
You guys saw the pictures I sent when I was down in Boca Raton at this place Strikes. What a lounge. You guys saw the pictures.
Nice place.
Really great lounge. I mean, what a lounge. And you know what everybody was smoking? Everybody was smoking Padrones
Yeah.
and everybody was smoking Davidoff.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everybody in that lounge.
Premier lines.
You
Premier
go,
lines.
because down there, I mean, honestly, right now, it's like it's South Florida is, it's a mini pockets of it, whether it's Boca, Palm Beach, parts of Miami and South Florida. It's like mini Beverly Hills.
Yeah.
And the people that are
down
a lot of money, and people down there are, you go to these cigar lounges, they're sparing no expense.
No, they want premium bands.
They're sparing no
Yep, yep.
expense. That they're out on their boats all day. They're doing their thing. They're smoking. They're smoking Padron. They're smoking They're smoking naturals. They're smoking Maduros.
I'm curious, the Padrones that you saw, I don't know if you were close enough to see which bands or which lines. Was it mainly the 64 line? Was it 26? Was it?
It was a mix of everything. I
Mm.
mean, it was there were people smoking exclusivos.
Family Reserve.
There were people smoking Family Reserve. There were people like women smoking Davidoff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like lighter, cigars, smaller ring gauge, just a mix. But mostly that. Like when I was walking around, they weren't smoking. They were all smoking pretty premium stuff. And that particular humidor at that lounge is smaller than the Monte Cristo lounge in terms of selection. But what, call it what you want, call it vanity, call it whatever. Davidoff and Padron to me, from what I've seen, kind of rule the day
to all of us
in a lot
really.
of these
Yeah,
a lot of these lounges.
It's represented like that on this podcast.
Of course.
And our listeners.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
of
what
course.
surprised me that Monte Cristo was not there.
Yeah.
EP Korea wasn't there.
No, EP.
Yeah.
And my
wasn't there.
father's in the top 5. I'm
Yeah.
surprised.
It's,
Like
it's
I was
marketing,
surprised too.
great
That's
marketing,
interesting. Yeah,
great
that's a
marketing.
good point.
Well, he makes a lot of cigars.
Yeah, too many.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah,
I was surprised to not see Oliva higher on the list as
that's
well.
true. That's true.
Yeah, I mean, because you get these people. It's a market. You get these people. You're gonna be wearing a Rolex. You're wearing a $20,000-$30,000 watch, and you're gonna smoke a white label Monte Cristo.
No.
No.
I'm also very
these
disappointed.
guys down there, and yeah, I'm just talking. Everybody's flexing. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Sure.
But nationwide, I mean, if you know your cigar brands, you're going to pursue the best cigar brands, right? Life's too
course.
short to smoke an awful cigar. So you're going to gravitate to Padron and Davidoff. These are the best made cigars in the world. Case
No,
closed.
I'm just
Case
shocked that
closed.
Rocky Patel itself is number 7. Because wherever I see, it's
There-
like everybody
That's true. They're ubiquitous.
gravitates towards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of people
Rocky.
do. A lot of people do. Not
Really?
everyone.
A lot of people do.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
people
Oh,
do.
yeah.
It's a shocker.
We're going to be doing a Rocky
Listen,
coming up. We're
I'm-
on
Hey,
Halloween. We got a Rocky coming up.
I mean, people should smoke what
Why
they
on
want.
Halloween?
Yeah. No, Poopa's making a good point.
People should really
yeah.
smoke what they like, and they
Smoke what
should
they
smoke
like.
what they want. Especially for the guy who's smoking a lot. I'm giving an example of people who maybe are going out. Maybe some of these people just go out from time to time and have a couple cigars a week, but it didn't seem like that. It seemed like these people were, they were into what they were doing.
Yeah.
They were into, they were into it. So it was nice to see a good lounge. And when you travel, I think it's cool to find a new lounge. I'm going out to Denver next week. I'm going to try out
Bam may join you.
The Brown Palace.
the Brown Palace.
The lounge
I
there in
think
that hotel
I think
is great.
Senator is going to fly in just for the day.
That's true.
Grinder's out there too.
Yeah, I'm going to meet him
Yeah.
because he just happens to be there. So I may meet him.
That's cool.
Meet him out there and just try a new lounge.
Yeah. It's a good
And
place.
I heard it's a great place.
I love it there.
Nice.
So, boys, we're about halfway through here on the Liga Privada Unico
That's-
Papas Fritas.
It's fantastic.
I'm really enjoying this cigar.
For this tiny little thing, the smoke output is ridiculous.
It's incredible
amazing.
how
Me and
smoky the
Bam,
room is.
we were smoking up, and it felt like when an atom bomb takes off and you get the mushroom cloud. It was exactly like that. It was like,
Yeah, another thing, like you mentioned earlier on the list, I'm surprised how low on the list the Liga 9 product
Yeah.
is.
Drew Estate period.
Yeah, I've never had a bad cigar in their line.
Yeah.
Ever. And we're smoking one tonight.
Yeah,
It's just-
everything that we've had from them has been,
Delicious.
and even the Undercrown, which is the
That's a very
kind
good
of the
cigar.
baby brother
Yeah.
line to the Liga Privada line, that performed very well in this podcast.
You can't say that's a bad cigar.
No, and
Not at
that's
all.
I think under $12,
It
$10.
is. Great
Yeah.
value.
And that was a Toro, I believe. It was pretty big.
That's right.
So, boys, more bad news here from the federal government. We keep having these conversations. These stories keep popping up. These bills. A new bill was announced. I don't know if you guys saw this.
No, we didn't.
So we just, obviously won the FDA case. The Judge Mehta ruled that the FDA was overstepping their bounds and removed the FDA oversight of premium handmade cigars. Well, I believe it was Representative or Senator Durbin out of Illinois announced a new bill called the Care for Moms Act, an extension of the Mothers and Offspring Mortality and Morbidity Awareness Act that was previously introduced. And long story short, it includes new taxes for e-cigarettes, roll your own tobacco, a 16x increase on pipe tobacco, and doubling the tax on small cigars like the one we have in our hand, and a massive tax hike on premium hand-rolled cigars.
This is just another underhanded way to diminish this industry. What they're doing makes absolutely no sense. If Senator was here, we'd have a complete dissertation on this.
You'd be losing it.
It's absurd. It's ridiculous.
Well, no one's going to go for this. It's not going
No.
to pass.
I hope not.
Look, I understand the whole e-cig thing and the vaping and rolling your own cigarettes, but that has nothing to do with the ultra premium cigars that we're smoking tonight and that every listener on this podcast smokes. It makes no sense.
What's he
None.
proposing the tax to be?
So the current language, the current federal excise tax is 52.75% of wholesale, capped at a little over 40 cents per cigar. And what this bill is doing is it's moving it to a weight-based tax, which is what they do in Europe and other countries, of $49.50 per pound. And Half Wheel, I got to give them credit. They actually did a breakdown of a few different sizes. So credit to Half Wheel on this. They, in a lot of cases, it would more than triple the current federal tax rate on cigars. So here's their estimate that I'll read. Again, credit to Half Wheel. On a Robusto, the current tax is a little over 40 cents per cigar. If the bill passes, it's going to more than it's going to triple the $1.37 per cigar, which is a 240% increase. On a Toro, again capped at 40 cents right now. If the bill passes, it's going to go to $1.80 per cigar, which is going to be a 350% increase. On a Gordo, again based on weight, 6x60, it's a big cigar, capped now at 40 cents. It's going to be a 500% increase.
Yeah, but how do they
At
weigh
$2.
every cigar? They're all going to weigh different.
They do it, I guess, based on the bundles, the shipments and whatnot, and they divide it out.
And I'm assuming they don't use the boxes.
We're getting
So,
It's
for
going to
example,
cost them more to weigh to regulate it than it is to
Yeah.
Or it's
Collect the tax.
it's a self-regulated thing, and they come in and they spot check it.
Unreal.
Why doesn't Senator Durbin with his hoodie go to Canada?
Nobody's. This is in passing.
So,
I think
for
there's too
example-
many cigar smokers on Capitol Hill.
I agree.
I hope so. For example, if a Robusto cigar has a current MSRP of $9.50, the federal excise tax is currently 40 cents with no state cigar tax in Florida. After this act, if it were to pass, that same $9.50 cigar would raise to $11.43.
Wow.
So more than almost $3
That's
more
tremendous.
just on a
It's
Robusto.
tremendous.
So in a box of 25, that's another $75 per cigar.
I hope Puba's sentiments are true. I don't think this will pass.
And aren't you glad we are smoking these short smokes? Short and light.
Yeah, this one would be capped at 40 cents. But yeah, it's just, the federal government just has not had enough trying to chase down premium hand-rolled cigars. And, like Bam said, it's like, I don't understand how they're not carving it out from
Of
cigarettes and other type of
course.
tobacco the kids are getting. I don't understand it.
Right.
And cigars that and tobacco that you're inhaling.
We're
We're not inhaling.
We've covered this. There aren't any kids on the planet that are pursuing cigars. It just doesn't happen.
I think it's less than 1% of high schoolers
It is
have
not
even
happening.
tried a premium hand roll cigar.
Right.
It's crazy.
Disappointing.
Yeah. Terribly disappointing. You know what's not disappointing, boys, is this cigar.
Dude.
I'm really enjoying this. For
Yeah.
$6 too, it just enhances the experience.
It's just over halfway through. It's still beautiful and smooth and delicious.
Yeah.
And I'm sure I'm going to get it for 20% off.
You gonna find a coupon?
Yeah, I will.
We should all buy cabinets of these and then flip them after the taxes
After
go
the
up.
tax. That's right. New business vertical.
That's right.
Look at how much smoke is in this room.
It's crazy.
Crazy how much smoke is in this room.
From a little tiny little cigar.
Yeah. You got to give Nick Melillo credit.
Yeah.
He's really, he that Connecticut broadleaf that he fell in love with over at Drew Estate, he's created a whole line of
Yeah.
cigars, a whole business out of
Yeah.
I feel like whenever,
Connecticut tobacco.
Totally, and I feel like whenever you smoke a Drew Estate or a Liga,
Yeah.
it's like this. It's like blue.
Yeah.
The room. The room.
There's a hue of blue.
The room just turns to blue. Am I wrong?
No,
You're totally
not-
right.
You're not
Look at the
wrong.
room. The room is like all blue smoke. Am I crazy?
No, you're not.
Or is it? It's weird.
Or is it the Knob Creek?
Could be.
I think next time I'm going to put on glasses. I think soon enough, goggles, and then a mask.
Yeah, the combustion is crazy on this thing.
I wonder whether they spray the same thing. Remember we mentioned this.
The
Yeah.
Liga 9
Like
on
for
the
the Liga
Ligas.
9, there are rumors that they spray this with
with a coating of some kind.
Yeah, which kind of really
You know,
adds to the smoke output.
It kind of, look
What?
at the room.
Spray? They spray it?
there's talk of that because if you look at that Liga 9,
They lace the cigars?
I don't know.
This is laced with like PCP?
there's a glistening on that wrapper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
So-
I love that cigar. I don't care what they do to it.
And actually, the one we did on the podcast, I believe, was the Toro. The Corona Viva, I actually think is a better cigar. I'm going to tee that up for an episode sometime next year.
Nice.
It's a really good cigar.
But I do think we need to do the double Corona before.
The Double Corona, that's a big
Oh,
cigar.
That's a big
monster.
cigar, but it's fantastic.
It's
Yeah.
good.
That's the cigar I fell in love with when
It's
I
good.
fell in love with number 9.
Yeah.
Really? That's
Yeah.
the one you went to first?
Yeah.
Wow.
We did the Liga
It was
9.
handed to me, so it's, because we frequent a lot of stores in New York City and lounges. A lot of the lounges have really good humidors. And once you get to know the guys, they're recommending you cigars within the same flavor profile, and that's how I got into it.
You're a good target.
Um,
I'm really enjoying this cigar. I mean, I haven't had many of these.
No?
I mean, I gotta get a box.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah. I mean, it's amazing when you find a cigar that satisfies you like this
For $6.
and that price. It's like such a home run.
That's crazy.
Russo, I think I bought a cap for less than $200.
Yeah.
Less than $4 a cigar.
That was back
That's
in the
incredible.
day. Way back in the day.
And that was
No, I'm talking about like around a
50
year
cap?
ago. Yeah, in this lounge. Because I introduced it to our Idiav and all the other guys.
Lizard Edia.
Yeah, Lizard. Yeah. It wasn't.
by the way,
it is kind of a cool cigar because it's like it's your expectation isn't like super high, but on the other hand, it's delivering what you would expect.
Yeah.
So
it over delivers.
it kind of over delivers, I think, in a way.
It screams value.
Yeah, for the size,
screams value.
Totally over delivers. That's a great way of putting it. Yeah.
And
Because there's nothing really like it tastes good, the combustion's really good, it performs really well. It's satisfying.
Yeah.
It's satisfying.
Now, post dinner, you have one of these, you could be one and done. Because
That's what I love about it.
because it's so satisfying.
If you get
really
home
could
late,
be.
if you get home late after a night out,
Yeah.
you don't want to sit down and smoke a cigar for an
Yep.
hour and a half. I mean, you light one of these, you're going to be totally satisfied.
Yep. If you're in our North Lounge, you have dinner, you want to get home, have one of these and go home and you're done.
Totally satisfied.
And you're totally satisfied.
There's a viscosity to the smoke.
That's a great way of putting it. It's velvety.
Velvety, yes.
Which is
Velvety.
very Liga-esque.
Yeah, and we talked about that at the Liga 9, how velvety that smoke was.
Yeah.
Right? And this was during the garage days. That garage was full of smoke.
I remember that.
That day we couldn't see each other, by the way.
Not.
No, and like this whole room's like the combustion on such a small cigar. How they do this and what goes into it and whether it's like a gimmick or whatever.
I think I'm getting
I don't
high.
really care because I kind of like what.
Yeah, man.
No,
Yeah, man.
I mean, think about it. I kind of like what I'm getting.
Yeah.
I mean, you throw a couple of these if you're traveling. You throw a couple of these in your briefcase, and you hit up a lounge and you got a limited amount of time. And
Yep.
let's say you smoke half of it and ditch it.
You're good.
Yeah,
I
in your
mean-
Peter James case.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm very proud
yeah, we all ordered
that
them.
all of you have Peter James cases.
Yeah.
All right, I'll order one tonight.
The
Yes,
Peter
sir.
James case.
Thank you. Thank
I-
you for the.
I'm a very proud
So
papa.
Bam,
Yeah,
Bam,
that
by the
was-
way, found a crazy 40% coupon. I don't know what kind of sale they were running. Sent it to the chat,
Mm.
and we all ran out and bought another case.
It
Yeah.
wasn't on their site.
No.
No, it was only in the email, right?
So you get it if you're a
Previous
customer.
customer.
They
maybe.
continue to send you updates and so on, but they sent that coupon. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was a good deal.
It was
Great deal.
it was a great deal,
Yeah.
and at least the zippers work.
Mhm.
So is the case made in
China.
USA or Italy or what?
No.
That
no.
No, yours.
the
The, one
ones
you
that-
have, the original.
Oh,
one.
the original one that Bam has.
This was
that's
made-
probably
Made in
Italian.
this- yeah, I think it was made over. All the cases there are made overseas. They're not made in the States. Where, I don't know.
Is there a tag on it? In it?
There is not.
No?
No,
I
not on
think
this guy.
I think Bam's original case from 2018 or whenever he bought it
Yeah, I bought this a long time
is
ago.
is probably Italian
Italian?
leather. What we bought was Chinese leather.
No.
Yes.
There's no leather coming
You're
out of
going to
China.
be very
by the way.
happy.
Okay.
So-
I'm just kidding.
Read the description. It says the leather's from China.
So-
They're like honest about it.
Hold on. Lizard Landau bought a Peter James case. I inspected it. I thought it was beautifully made. The leather's nice. It's a little different than this. It's not as soft, but I think over time, those cases you work them in. The zippers are fantastic. They're never going to go. I think the leather gets soft.
Can I just say something about this cigar that's eye-opening to me? And it kind of tees up what Puba was saying before about value and kind of filling the slot of Cuban cigars in these moments where you don't really need one, right? You used to reach for one because you had them and they were pretty reasonable. You can get them all the time and they were priced well. Now it's like this is such another hard reminder of the absolute catastrophe Habanos has created with their pricing structure.
Yeah.
And how many more cigars I am certainly reaching for. We are. I'm sure the listeners are as well.
Sure.
And I know because I see it on these forums of guys saying, I haven't purchased a Cuban cigar in over a year.
Yeah.
I'm going to ride out my stock of Cuban cigars, and my daily go-tos are New Worlds that
Right.
are performing well.
Yeah.
And it's like, this is another example of a $6 cigar versus a $24 cigar we just smoked
You
on
know,
the same episode. It's crazy.
even some of the guys that we respect on a lot of the forums that we're on, they're saying the same thing. There's merit to that, right? And now that China's involved with the Habanos SA, it's changed the structure of it, right? Pricing has changed.
Yes, and some of the hassle too. You know, now you're putting a lot of money on the line
Yeah.
to get cigars through customs, you're getting, you're
Yep.
putting a lot of money out.
It's a big risk.
People are losing the global entry. I
Yeah.
mean,
Thanks, Pagoda.
Yeah, totally.
It's also-
Where you could pick up a mild Davidoff Petite Corona that's gonna, okay, it's $18.
Still less than pretty much anything that
But
Habanos has.
right, but it's in your hand.
Yeah, in 2
And
days.
you could probably get it, or at a local
B&M,
retailer,
yeah.
and it could be actually you could get it in a tubo, and like actually travel around with it.
Yeah.
and so I think that I also think on the pod we should try some of those. I mean, we've always,
the Millennium, right? The Millennium Petite Corona.
Yeah,
well,
it's
the
fantastic.
Millennium Petite Corona is great, but I don't know. There's some of these other stuff in the Davidoff line too that's more mild. That
the Signature Series.
in the Signature
Yeah.
Series and things like that. That
The Grand Cruise.
the Grand
Yeah.
Cru,
Yeah.
things like that. That like you overlook, but like it's here.
There's a lot of.
And
I mean, listen. There's a lot of cigars that
It's here, and it's good tobacco.
There's a lot of cigars on the list that we haven't done. There's
That's
a lot
right.
of cigars that we haven't even considered.
Right.
And it's just, again, it just continues to be eye-opening as we smoke more
Sure.
New World cigars that we've not had before, and we're trying for the first time, or trying for the first time in a long time. In your case, Pooh, but tonight, it's like, again, we have another $6 revelation tonight on the podcast.
It's true. I will say something though, reverting back to the whole Cuban Habanos Essay catalog. And there are guys and girls out there right now that are looking to build a Cuban cigar collection. Honestly, if you're going to overpay for a Cuban cigar, you're going to go for the standard production cigars. You are going to get a D4. You're going to get a RAS. If you're overpaying for it, so be it. You got to get those sticks.
You're just smoking them less regularly.
You are. You're smoking less of those,
Yeah.
but you're going to collect them.
You wanna have them.
You want to
Yeah.
have them.
Yeah.
And you're going to spend the money. I'll
Of course.
continue to spend the money on the staples, but absolutely pursue the new worlds that we're discovering.
Think about us. Like, had we not come into Habanos and Cuban cigars, like we discussed on our 100th episode, right?
Right.
We recapped like that journey into Cuban cigars that
Yeah.
we had. Had we not done that when we did, and we did it after the significant price increases over the last 2 years, I think all of us would have significantly less Cuban cigars in our towers, just because the prices are 3-4x in some cases.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the value has diminished
We're so fortunate.
as the prices have gone up.
Yeah,
Very
think about a
fortunate.
box of
Yeah.
eight. Like I've had I got boxes of 898s, cabinets of Lucy's, boxes and boxes of Upman 2s that I bought before
Right.
these price hikes
Yeah.
that are
and,
just sitting.
and we
Yeah.
have as well. Yeah.
Yeah, we're not touching them.
No,
Just
we're not.
touching them.
Yeah.
So
I have a lot
I
of
don't-
Lucy's. I don't even touch them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't bought anything in the last, 8 months.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Same.
6 to 8 months, like
Same.
Cuban cigars.
The
Well,
only
me
stuff I've
neither.
purchased is that we're smoking on the podcast
The new
Yeah.
worlds.
and New Worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a revelation, the new world market and how well they're smoking, how delicious they are. It's really something to experience.
I think the Ashton VSG was a great discovery. I think there's a lot of stuff in the Padron line that we've discovered that's been great. I
the
think
warped
there's
cigar,
Warped.
Delicious.
Warped is great.
My
I didn't
father,
have that.
yeah,
the Don Pepin, the blue label.
that Lancero,
Lancero.
fantastic.
The Oliva V we just
The
did.
Oliva V,
that was great.
Awesome.
That was
Oliva
great.
V.
That cigar rated as high as any Cuban that we've ever had, almost.
It was pretty
Think about that.
incredible. And it was
Just think about that.
that cigar, by the way, is less than the cigar we have in our hand right now.
Yeah, but it's fractions of what some of the elite Cuban cigars are. Right
Significant
now.
fraction.
It's insane.
If you compare Vitola to Vitola,
Of course.
any Cuban Lancero
Oh,
is 10x
it's tremendous.
or 20x.
Yeah, I
or
just
more.
wonder
Or
if this
more.
is if it's ever going to adjust.
Right. If the pricing is going to adjust with Habanos.
I don't
We
think
hope
so
so.
because they're still selling every box that they put out.
Yeah.
So it's
And
they
that's
have-
driven by the Asian market.
And they have a sup- but they have a
you know
supply
what,
issue.
No, but you know what's
Yeah.
going to happen? I think in the long run is it's going to tip over. And as the new world start infiltrating the rest of Europe and Asia,
which is happening.
Yeah.
things
yeah.
will slowly change.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to start getting real competition from equally good cigars.
And honestly, this podcast is defining the nature of what that market will be. And it's, I think, projecting into the market, I think, rigorously. My opinion.
Hey, listen.
My opinion.
How many episodes ago did we discuss the fact that we'd smoked an equal number of Cubans and New Worlds, and the rating was exactly the same?
Yeah, they're really damn close.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we're averaging out right around an 8.
Yeah, I mean, as long as the Asians are paying a premium for these Habano cigars,
It won't change.
the prices are not going to change.
Not at all.
And if they don't increase their supply, if they do not fix their supply issues, because it's still down, if they're unable to fix that, the price, it levels it out. Now, if they flood the market with supply, then I think the tip is going to come faster, to Pagoda's point, and there may be a correction. There's never going to be a correction in the high-end stuff. There's never going to be a correction in Cohiba, but Trinidad is a good example of a brand that is in desperate need of a realignment
Agreed.
in price, because there's no way that those cigars are worth what they say they are.
Yeah, and you see,
it just doesn't add up.
what's unusual on our forums, you see fewer and fewer of those showing up
Absolutely.
because of price.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a box of Coloniales, 24.
It's
right?
crazy.
I mean, I've seen prices on promo for $1,150.
No, thank you.
And
Now you know how much I love that cigar.
Yeah, I know.
I love that cigar,
I
but I will
have-
never pay that price.
I have their price used to be
It's
$950,
crazy.
and now it's $750
Yeah.
on the Colonial, which is still like crazy.
It's still crazy.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
But even talking about D4s, I was mentioning, we were talking about it with a buddy the other day. I was at Carnegie, and I said, well, just less than 2 years ago, I bought a box of D4s for $215.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
Now they're 600.
And the latest box I bought was $600.
Yeah.
Oh my
I said,
It's 3x.
That's crazy.
I said, I could get 100 of the Papa's Fritas.
Yeah.
Really,
it's crazy.
ridiculous.
It's crazy.
But like I said before, yeah, it's a staple. So those that are starting to collect Cubans, they're going to still pursue those basic staple lines. You have to
and
get
they're just going to smoke less of them.
unfortunately,
Right.
yes.
Yeah. There's still a lot of empty shelves in Europe. There's still a lot of empty shelves around the world. Habanos has a lot of work to do to catch up, just to replace stock pre-COVID. There's a lot of supply needed to just catch up to normal stocking situations. Then maybe, if demand cools and supply is at normal levels on a regular basis, there could be a tipping point on price. I just don't see it happening in the near term. I think we're talking 3 to 5 years at least.
You may be right, because it may be just the supply.
Supply
on
is
the
the problem.
supply side is just so tight that it's just that tight.
Yeah.
It could
Yeah.
be.
We'll see.
We'll have to see. I mean, but I mean, something's gonna have. There's gonna be a tipping point at some point. I'm not sure that these prices are sustainable for so long, because you got to remember too, the U.S. market's a big part of the market.
Yeah.
It is. A lot of people buying cigars here.
Yeah.
All right, boys. So we're coming to the end of our evening here with the now Knob Creek. We have to do the liquor rating
Yes, sir.
and the Liga Privada Unico, Papas Fritas. Any final thoughts before we do our ratings?
Excellent experience tonight.
Yeah,
Honestly.
I thought all three of our
Really delicious.
cigar and spirit tonight were great.
Very good.
Excellent.
Yep.
All right, boys. Let's do the formal liquor rating on the Knob Creek
All right.
9-year bourbon.
Like I said earlier, my first 2 or 3 sips were a little rough, but it has developed into a very tasty, very drinkable spirit. I'm giving it an 8.
Okay. Pagoda.
By the way, I would have started off with a 6, but after
Right.
putting a lot of ice, and the way it really complemented both the cigars we
Yeah.
smoked today,
Yeah.
and in fact enhanced it at certain points in time, I think I have to give it an 8.
There you go.
Just to be really fair, even with the price point, $32. Hey, listen, just get some extra ice. in there.
Dude, if
Yeah.
someone
And
handed me that glass in a lounge, I'm drinking that thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Oh,
Very
yeah.
flavorful, very tasty.
Yeah.
Excellent.
I agree. Puba.
I'm going to give it a 7. I think it
Okay.
was good. It's serviceable. Not that complex, but like wouldn't
Drinkable.
reject it. Very drinkable. It's a
Yeah.
7 for me.
So I'm at an 8. I thought it was very good. I
Yeah.
think, like Pagoda said, I probably would have started at a 7.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that it paired with both cigars tonight, I think is a
Yeah.
merit. I think the price is a merit. I love the flavor profile of the bourbon. I thought it kind of sat in the background tonight, which I
Right.
thought was great.
It did. And like I said, when you first start out, it's a little rough which is why your scores would have been low early
Yeah.
on.
You just got to give it some time.
You do, and it opens up and it develops really nicely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the formal liquor rating, boys, is a 7.8, which I
Okay.
think is a perfect score
Yeah,
Fair enough.
for that bourbon.
fair
tonight.
enough. Yeah.
All right, it's time to do the formal lizard rating on the Liga Privada Unico Series, Papas Fritas. Rooster, you're up.
So we smoked 2 cigars tonight. I mean, the short the punch, I gave it an 8. It's a $24 steak. I mean, in the current market. This Papas Fritas is a $6 cigar, if not, maybe a little bit less even.
Yeah, depending on where you
1/4
find
the
it.
price of the short the punch. Nothing wrong with this cigar. Great construction. Good flavor, smoking till the end. I mean, how could you? I'm going to give it a 9.
There you go.
Woo!
No, that's a great score.
It is.
Yeah.
Puba.
Well, I'm not going to give it.
I was between an 8 and a 9.
I'm not giving it a 9.
There we go.
I mean, I'm going to give it a 7. I think but it's a recommend for me. I mean, I think the cigar's very, very good. I think it's great to, get out the charcoal, throw it down, put some lighter fluid on the barbecue or whatever. I like it. I mean, I like the cigar, but it's a 7 for me. I mean, it's a recommend, but
7 is a soft recommend.
no,
Yes.
it's a recommend. But the punch is better.
The ending of this cigar is better than the short the punch. to
It
me.
is.
Way better.
Because
For me.
the
Yeah.
sweetness continued all the way through.
I like the cigar. I'm
Yeah.
recommending
I
it.
know.
All right.
I'm recommending it. I'm giving it a 7.
All
You
right.
got to change it to an 8.
No,
You can't once you've
You're
determined.
So,
no.
so for me, it's an 8, and I'll tell you why. So the short to punch, I also ended up at an 8. I thought it started as a 9. It was hovering around that, ended up closer to a 7 for me. I averaged out an 8. This, to me, start to finish, was an 8 all the way through. I really enjoyed it. I thought it delivered slightly under what I think I should expect from a Liga Privada. I think the Corona Viva, it edges this out quite a bit. Obviously, I think that long filler, a little bit more of a cigar in that, obviously a more expensive cigar, but that to me is closer to a 9. So I'm very comfortable at an 8 with this, which aligns very much with the short to punch.
The value.
The value factors in.
Bro.
I mean, it's
It's great.
beat that.
Pagoda.
Yeah, for me, it's a 9. Listen, it's a 9. It's a 9. It's a 9. And I loved it. And I'll give you a few reasons for it as well.
not a
and I'll tell you why.
You guys are lunatics.
No, I'll tell you why.
It's not a 9.
Oh, boy.
I don't care if it's 20
All
or
right.
9.
Let the man speak. Let the man speak.
Let me give you a logical reason behind it. It's reminiscent of the Liga number 9, which was one of my favorite cigars. Having said that, coming into the cigar, you're already expecting, the short fillers, you don't know what to expect. It over-delivered from that perspective. The flavor profile was fantastic through and through. It wasn't overpowering. It wasn't, a nicotine bomb.
No.
It was just very smooth, and in fact, it was very mellow. And maybe because you aged it, right? The smoke output, fantastic. You're sitting, you can be on your deck, you can be on the golf course, you can buy 20 of them and give it to your friends. Essentially, when you're comparing this with the punch, you'd get one of these and you could get 4 of these.
Right. For the
for
value.
the same price.
Yeah.
So the value proposition is also very, very high. So just because we're doing both the cigars together, there is, in my mind,
Sure.
the comparative side
course.
of it. And
Mhm.
for me, it's just a 9. And I really enjoy it. This could be your last cigar of the night, because sometimes you want to end with something. We typically end with the exclusive or something in the same flavor profile, something strong, something which is flavorful.
a little more oomph to
Yeah,
it.
oomph to it. Whether you experience a little bit of cocoa, a little bit of earthiness, minerality, and in some cases, a bit of coffee sometimes. I think just overall, my experience with the cigars always been great. And whoever I've offered this to has always loved it. I think it's a
That's
9
true.
for me.
Yeah.
All right.
That's
Very,
true.
very well said.
What a dissertation from Pagoda. Wow.
By
Bam,
the
Bam,
way,
you're up.
I don't know what to say.
That was more than he usually like.
That's
Yeah.
true.
He
Yeah.
was,
I
he
love
was,
it.
He was giving it back to you
Love
very
it.
eloquently.
Love it. Yeah.
All right, Bam.
So let me just say my piece, okay? before any interruptions. I do think a 7 is too low for the cigar because of how much it costs and what you're getting for the cost. I am between an 8 and a 9, but I'm gonna gravitate toward an 8. No, I'm at an 8. I am at an 8, but the versatility of this, what I said earlier, you can hand this to a cigar novice and they would love this cigar and it'll continue their pursuit of cigars and get into this hobby. I think an 8 is a perfect score for the cigar, personally.
So the
8.
formal Lizard rating, boys, is an 8.2
Wow.
for the Papas Fritas.
That's a great score for
I
the
think
cigar.
that's a great score.
Now, I think that,
That's a high recommend.
And
Yeah,
I think
and look at
I think it factors in value.
It always works out perfectly.
It works out good.
Nice.
So it was a great night, boys.
Yeah.
So the Knob Creek 9-year bourbon had a 7.8. The Cuban short to punch from Punch, we smoked that first. That was a flat 8.0. And we finished with the Liga Privada Serie Unico Papas Fritas
And
with
you
an
know that
8.2.
that's so fair because it's slightly edged out because of the price at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I think it's a value thing.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
All right. So Short Smoke Special number 3 is in the books, boys. And we'll do another one sometime in the winter of 24. And until then, we'll see you all next week.
Keep smoking.
Hope you enjoyed this episode. Thanks for joining us. You can find our merch store and ratings archive at our brand new website, loungelizardspod.com. That's loungelizardspod.com. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, hello@loungelizardspod.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.